Welcome to Detroit. Not your first time here, obviously, but
Haven't been there for a while, but yeah, fond memories of Detroit.
were you aware? I mean, even as an Australian band, where you're like, we're playing Detroit. This matters musically. This matters.
Yeah, we're all pretty much into the history of music. So yeah, most places we played, we always had a chat, about famous bands from and famous venues at. So it's always a big part of what we did.
I've with Listen Like Thieves. Congrats on the remaster of the 40th anniversary. Here in Detroit, one of the bands, the MC5, famous, an amazing live band, but it never felt like it translated to the studio. There was always that they were great live and they were good in the studio. You guys were great in the studio and great live as well. Were you aware of that sound? How to keep it tight in both places? Did you see what I'm getting at?
We, to be honest, it took us a while. It really took until this album, until Listen Like Thieves with Chris Thomas to make that transition properly, because Chris had remarked that it was like those two different INXS bands, because it was the band that played live that was really powerful and really gelled, and the band in the studio that took sort of more risks and played sort of studio stuff. So, and that was always to do with the producers. The first producers really liked separating things, as a lot of producers did in those days. And then Chris Thomas came along and just said, "Okay, get all your demos. We'll pick the songs, then go in a studio and rehearse them." So because he wanted us to play live in the studio.
With What You Need, the intro to that song, that kind of where it sounds like somebody's tripping an amp or something.
And
Where did that come from?
what you need was a whirlwind, because Chris Thomas, we thought we'd finished the record, and Chris Thomas goes, "No, we still need a hit." And boy, was he right. So Andrew and Michael went off in the corner, and they had a demo that we sort of hadn't taken all the way. And then Tim's like, "What about that song of Andrew's?" So he called Funk something or other, and then we put that together really quickly. They wrote it in the corner, and then we recorded it in an afternoon. So there's a lot of open mic stuff, which is like John's intro is just something that happened on that take. And all the banner and the guitar playing, the sort of fooling around is just what happened during that take.
So part of this collection is the 1986 show Royal Albert Hall, and I've seen this a couple places. Mick Jagger's in the crowd. Were you told Mick was there, or did you find out afterwards?
We knew. I mean,
Okay.
most people, famous people that go to see other bands try to see them before the show,
Right.
because afterwards, it's always a bit of a circus. So they usually say hello and then disappear. Like Keith would be the same, and he'd disappear before all the party started. Or we'd meet them privately somewhere else, like just to have a private get together. But no, Mick saw us quite a lot. He was it's quite amazing. I see Mick Jagger he'd come early to shows and sit and have dinner with the crew. Like he's a real nice bloke, like, and no security, like everyone seems to have these days, especially. But yeah, he just turn up, take us out for dinner. A really nice guy.
Happens all the time. Mick Jagger just,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, give me somebody to chew on here, Gary. That happens all the time here in Detroit. I'm like, Mick Jagger's here. Uh, with Giles Martin remastering a lot of this, what bass lines did you hear? Or did maybe, I wouldn't say amplify is the right word, that jumped out at you? I mean, some of the work you do is amazing on this entire project, but were there ones that you went, damn, that's pretty good?
Well, obviously, What You Need,
Yeah.
which is a huge bass line anyway, because that's actually a keyboard bass line that I used. But Listen Like Thieves, I mean, to me, that's always one of my favorite bass tracks, because it's one of the only songs that I actually play with a thumb, like slap bass. I don't do that very well at all, but for that song, I just seem to sound better. So I sat in a dark room, and to get it live with the drums, I actually had to sit in a little tiny box in between live rooms in the dark, sitting on my amp. So that's why and it just sounds great. It sounds huge, and then but the remastering really makes the bass pop a lot more, and Kiss the Dirt as well. I mean, I can really hear the bass a lot more now.
There has to be an emotional component to this, Gary. I mean, when you hear that, are you taken back to some of the sessions? Or where does your mind's go? Where does your mind's eye go when you listen to these back again?
Well, listening to the songs as well as listening to the demos, and it really does take you back. I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny because I'm not really one to look back too much, but this particular remastering is you can't avoid it. I mean, it's when we really, as I said before, kind of got it right in the studio, and it coincided with the fact that people were really catching on. Top 5 hit with What You Need. Great respect around the world for that record. So for us, it was a real turning point. And rightly so, after all the hard work we'd already been doing, around the world. So looking back, it really brings back great memories of the fact that it was really when the band was really discovering its power and really enjoying its its role in the music history. You know what I mean?
So you run into somebody and they know the band, but they've never heard a song. They've never heard a song. What's the first one you play for them? You go, here, I want you to listen to this. This is INXS.
Well, obviously, people, even people who don't think they know INXS know Need You Tonight and Never Tear Us Apart. But with this album, I mean, What You Need, and surprisingly, for me, because I wrote the music for Listen Like Thieves, and then Andrew and Michael, worked their magic with me on it and made it what it is. But Listen Like Thieves, the song is actually one of the most played songs on the radio, which surprised me. But it is funny you say that, because people say, I've never heard of INXS, and it's like I show them my tat, and it's like, and then they go, well, I'll bet you $10 a song that 10 songs, and they always do, but I don't take their money. But it is something that's the beauty of it, is having our songs that it's kind of ingrained in history, and it stands the test of time. I mean, the songs sound as fresh now as they did back in '85.
I was in U.S. Naval Submarine School when this came out, and I bought it on cassette, and I would listen to it because I would study all day. It's what we did for a year and a half of our life. You got me through submarine school. This is what I use. I would put it on and tune out all the we're taping bullshit and focus on the music and what I was studying. And INXS, from Shabu Shaba to definitely this album, Listen Like Thieves, it was a large part, and it still is part of my world, Garry.
Yeah, that is a beautiful thing about look about our part in history, because is the part the role we played in people's lives, as well, obviously, as well as our own. I mean, it's I've been with the guys and in the band since high school, so, and as basically as youths, or however you say it, as young men. So it's great to see the role it's played in people's lives, and how it still affects them, because the songs, as I said, the songs are timeless, and I think in many ways hit home harder now than they did then, in some ways. I think people are always looking for not so much the good old days, but just something that makes them feel good, because there's a lot that makes you feel bad right now going on. So I think our re-release of Listen Like Thieves, to me, is really timely in helping people get through, like it probably did back then.
It did. It did. I can testify that firsthand. GGB, it's always great talking to you. INXS, we love you guys here in the Motor City and around the world. Congrats on the project. Rhino Records, it's out now. I would encourage anyone who's a fan to go get this. You've got to have this in your collection. Thank you so much for the time. All the best, and hope to talk soon.
Thanks, man. All the best.
Thank you.